This is Kenya's biggest conversation. We are live on SpiceFM, on KTN News, on YouTube, and Facebook. Before we welcome Prof to the show, CT, let him hear the proverb.
Professor, every day we have a proverb, but we normally take the proverbs from any particular country on the continent. And so for that whole week, we read proverbs or we extract proverbs from that particular country. This week, we're in the country of Sierra Leone. Okay. Sierra Leone borders Guinea, which was the country that we derived proverb from last week. It's also next to Liberia. It's also next to the Atlantic Ocean. Quarrels end. Words once spoken never die.
Quarrels end.
Yes. Words once spoken never die.
Never die. That's the proverb for today.
That's it. Professor Romanus Odhiambo, Vice Chancellor, Meru University of Science and Technology. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation and the hot seat of the Situation Room. Karibu Nairobi.
Asante.
Okay. When you hear that proverb from Sierra Leone, what's your interpretation of it?
Well, it says that quarrels ends and words once spoken never die. And to me, when I reflect on that, is that we should be very speculative before we speak something. We should actually mean what we say, so that because what comes out of your mouth will actually stay. It will outlive you. But quarrels ends. Today we quarrel, tomorrow we are friends. That's to me what I take out of it. Yes.
In that moment of anger, be careful what you say.
Be careful what you say. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Asante sana. Tell us about Meru University of Science and Technology. Where is it? How old is it?
This is very excellent. And once again, good morning, Kenyans. My name is Professor Romanus Odhiambo, the Vice Chancellor of Meru University of Science and Technology. Meru was born as a constituent college of JKU in the year 2009. Before then, it was a TTI, a technical college. And on 1st of March 2013, the Meru University of Science and Technology was actually born, fully chartered. And we are in Meru County, the road between, that is Meru Maua Road, just next to the Njuri Cultural Center. Our leaders, our cultural leaders, for which we are very grateful, they did donate the land, about 600 acres, to the university where the university is. We are going to celebrate our 10th year celebrations on 1st of March next year. I went there about 4 years ago, and I found we had 4,500 students. Today we have about 11,000 students, and we really thank God for that and the support that Kenyans have got. And we get students from all over the country. I have students from Lamu, I have students from Pokot, I have students from Migori, where I come from. I have students from, name it, Kajiado, kila mahali. We are truly, truly national. That's what we are saying. And of course, we celebrate. I know Kenyans think that Nairobi is the center of Kenya. We celebrate ourselves as the university in the northern hemisphere of Kenya, because the equator, we're just after the equator passes in Kubu, and Meru just there, the slopes of Mount Kenya. A great, serene, green place to be. Clean air. Wacheni hii yenu ya Nairobi hapa. It's just enjoyable, and we also celebrate that we are the maternity of elephants. When they are expectant, they move over to the forest in Meru, just next to our gate where they give birth.
Right.
That's what we are. Just like animals from Tanzania come to give birth in Kenya. So most of them come to give birth. The elephants come to give birth in Meru. That's what we are.
So these are elephants coming from the Meru forest?
Meru forest, yes.
Just near your university?
Yes, we celebrate it.
Oh,
Professor, you haven't mentioned one thing.
Yes.
plenty of food?
We are also, Meru, we know how to eat food and we eat well. There's a lot of food in Meru, very excellent people. I know we are normally depicted as mirror-chewing people, but that's just one of our fun. But then we have a lot of food, all kinds, be it tea, be it coffee, be it maize roasting, be it goat ribs eating. We have all kind of food. That's what we celebrate also in Meru. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
11,000 students.
Yes.
How many faculties do you have?
Meru University of Science and Technology is a science and technology university. We have 8 schools. We have what we call the School of Agriculture and Food Science, doing very well in all the kind of courses that you have in agriculture. We also have School of Education. We are perhaps one of the only 2 or 3 universities that do education science, education art, but very importantly, training teachers for our TTIs and TVET, courses that of late are very, very essential. The current presidency really promote that. So we also have what we call education technology, training teachers to go and teach in TTIs, almost like the CBC teachers. So we are one of the few universities that are doing that. That's the second school. The third school is School of Engineering and Architecture. Again, people may think that we do conventional engineering. Our engineering is actually Bachelor of Technology, the hands-on. They do Bachelor of Technology in Electrical Electronic Engineering, Bachelor of Technology in Civil Engineering, Bachelor of Technology in Mechanical Engineering, and soon to be launched Bachelor of Technology in Architecture. And we also soon to launch is Bachelor of Technology in Mechatronics. That is C. The fourth school is SAN.
Hold on, before you go on.
Yeah.
Because you said this is a different one. So the others we know Bachelor of Science
Yes.
in Engineering,
Yes.
Electrical Electronic.
Excellent.
And this is Bachelor of Technology in Electrical Electronic. What's the difference?
Serious difference. This is just like asking questions. We have been doing it for old people like us used to do. We used to go to 7 years primary, 4 years secondary, and then 2 years high school and wherever. And now we are talking about the CBs. The question is, what is the difference? In the BTech, emphasis is on not only the knowledge, but also the skill, the hands. The skill, the people who do things with their side, the psychomotor. In the science, it's more of a science, more of the knowledge, the science of doing things. So when you look at technologies, theirs is that the scientists have already discovered something, have already conceptualized something, but you want somebody to come and really manage those things, use them and all the rest. That's the difference. World over right now, outside there, be it in the US, be it in Europe, be it in North America, be it in Asia and everywhere, the real people that really counts outside there are not the scientists, are the technologies. It's almost the same thing like the 844 and CBC.
And the CBC.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
next
yes.
school.
Now, the next school that we have is SKY, School of Computing and Informatics, and we brag as doing all kind of computing science, but also the only university in East and Central Africa that has some of the most important courses. I know Kenyans don't know this. We have right now people talk about data analytics, the BSc Data Science. I think I'm the only university that is offering that in East and Central Africa right now. That is the in thing. Be it the people talk about data analytics and all the rest. We also have a course in BSc Cybersecurity and Forensic Science. I think we could be only 2 or 3 in East and Central Africa. Besides the conventional computer science course, the BSc IT, the BSc Computer Technology, and all kind of them. And then we do this from certificate, diploma, up to PhD. One very important thing that Meru University has and other universities do not have is what we call the articulations, that you can do a certificate and after some time you come to diploma and you don't start in year 1 because they are made such a way that they feed in each other. You can do a diploma in such a way that when you come to BSc, you articulate, you jump to the next level because they are made in such a way that they feed each other. And that's the new thing in the world, that the programs are well articulated at the articulation program. So we have that, what is called the SKY. The other school is School of Health Sciences. Now, the School of Health Sciences is basically a precursor of our School of Medicine yet to be. We have a dream that we are going to have a school and college of medicine. And the School of Medicine or Health Sciences, we have BSc Clinical Medicine. Now, BSc Clinical Medicine are basically for doctors, what we call the physician assistant. Most of the time, all the places in Kenya, the doctors you see are actually clinicians. So we train people in BSc Clinical Medicine. We also have public health and many, many other things. And the next school is SAN, School of Nursing. I brag as the best school of nursing. I know Kenyans don't know this in Kenya. And we have the general BSc nursing, and then the middle nursing, those the mature entry nursing, and we are also right now, we are just working on I think perhaps will be the second universities in East and Central Africa that are going to have BSc in midwifery. Because normally midwifery has been part and parcel of nursing, but then there's a lot of needs. So we have that, and also we are also going to have a MSc in nursing. The final schools almost getting there is School of Pure and Applied Science. Being a science and technology university, you'd expect that you have professors that also infuse the science and technology and innovation ideas to some of these thematic professional courses. So in that school, we have mathematics. I'm a professor of mathematical statistics. We have we have Department of Physics, Chemistry, name it, biology, zoology, botany, biochemistry, microbiology, and all that kind of thing. But also under the School of Health Sciences, I've forgotten, we have some of the state-of-the-art facilities for producing real scientists comparable to Cambridge. And men, listen to this. If you mess around there, we can do the paternity test to know whether the child. We can do the diagnostic test for the infectious diseases. We can do cancer tests, the DNA sequencing, name it. We have this kind of facilities. And that's why my council, and I really appreciate my council for allowing me to travel here to talk with you guys. The council is trying to depict Meru University of Science and Technology, not only as a center of science and technology, but also a center of excellence in science and technology, especially in real serious science, like cancer science, the infectious diseases science, name it, because we have all these kind of facilities in Meru. I think the last school I would like to talk about is the school that we all know. Everywhere you go, there's School of Business and Economics. These are the BCom, name it. But we need this in a science and technology university so that they can also infuse business ideas, social ideas, entrepreneurial ideas to our professionals that graduate in a science and technology university. Thank you very much.
Professor.
Yes.
Everything you've said so far tells me one thing. All the old universities, probably the ones you studied in, were you a student at the University of Nairobi, or were you a student at Kenyatta University? Which university did you study in? Because clearly, the university you studied in, you are set to overtake them. Because none of these universities, with the exception of JKUAT, can claim to have the sort of faculties that you have when it comes to the mechanical sciences. None of them can talk about how you've infused what we may call the natural sciences of medicine in and brought in
the social
sciences, yes, which are a key component in understanding and actualizing them.
Yes.
Now, the question I want to ask, is the university planning to have a medical school?
Thank you very much. First of all, I'm a Kenyan-bred professor. I learned in a very funny school in the village between Kenya and Tanzania at the border. And just barefooted, no uniform.
Which school?
It's not known.
I have worked
school.
in Migori. That is why I asked.
Kitabai.
Kitabai Primary School.
Yeah.
You will see. People will comment here and say,
then from there, I went to one of the best schools during our time, Kaltunga Musocho. high school.
Yes.
We used to thrust people in this country academically. And then from there...
And basketball.
Yeah, everything, not just basketball, even getting some of the best girlfriends, you know. And then from there, we were 28. And some of the best doctors, some of the best engineers in this country were actually our classmates after Form 6. But me, I decided to be a teacher in Kenyatta University. So you are right. I went to Kenyatta University to do double mathematics and education. So I'm a teacher, bred and brought up in Kenyatta University as a teacher, trained teacher, first class guy. And then I did Master of Science in Statistics there and a PhD statistics there. Then after that, I moved to Jomo Kenyatta to be a lecturer. For the last 30 years, I've been in Jomo Kenyatta as their professor. So yes, you are right that there seemed to be some resemblance between Meru University of Science and Technology, the then Constituent College of JKUAT, and now a full-fledged university the last 9.5 years. So yes, it is true. So back to your question, what did you say that...
What I want to ask is, I've listened to what you're saying.
Yes.
School of Medicine.
Yes, School of Medicine.
I'm going to say that, do you know, Nairobi University runs School of Medicine. Moi does. Everybody does. But you see in the, you Kenyans, the problem I have with you is that you always think that Nairobi is the center of Kenya. There, 50% of Kenya lie from Meru up to Ethiopia, Somali, and Sudan. And all those guys, they are also Kenyans. We want to start a School of Medicine for those places. By the way, you don't know this, my brother, that the highest cancer prevalence in this country is actually found in Meru. A lot of diseases, particularly domicile in those parts of Kenya, are actually there. And universities, if you study the history of universities were started to bring a solution to problems. And this can only come when you have a school dedicated to that. So yes, we are actually in the next 3 or 4 years, we'll have School of Medicine, specifically dedicated to investigating cancer, investigating some of the normal disease problem, infectious diseases that are found in those sites which are not found this side. And that is something that we are really working towards to. Thank you.
I think it's interesting that you talk about, not the realization that, Nairobi is not the world and the world is not Nairobi. When we're looking at Kenya, we've had conversations before when looking at things like devolution and saying that, it's then important to take the centers of power away from Nairobi. Education could be one way to do that. And you talk about a center or an institution that is doing a lot of these things. So beyond the education, seeing it as an opportunity also to open up that part of Kenya for very many things, so that anybody who's looking for a quality education doesn't have to go to your historic centers of education, which unfortunately are domiciled in the capital.
I agree with you. Let me tell you, Kenyans, I've had our good president, and congratulations to His Excellency His Excellency Dr. Ruto, for being the president of this country. I've heard people talk about South Korea, people talk of Malaysia, people talk of, the industrialized countries. And one of the reasons these people are really industrialized and doing very well is the proportions of people that have university degrees. People don't think about this. What I've heard is a bit about pedestrian. Sorry, this is a bit hard for Kenyans to understand. Pedestrian argument that we don't require so many universities. Yet the proportion of Kenyans with degrees is not more than 9%.
Yep.
Those countries we are comparing ourselves are 25 to almost 40% with the degrees. And there is a direct resemblance in terms of development between the people who are graduate degree holders and those who are not. And coming back to Kenya, I think we are still very far. I've heard people saying we have so many universities. We don't have. If we really want to move, universities are actually not only avenues of making people really have education and so that they create jobs, but it's also an avenue of creating employment, changing communities, transforming community and impacting communities. I went to Jomo Kenyatta as a young person, almost 30 years. That is over 30 years ago. And if those of us, I see you guys here, you're a bit young, apart from one or two. Those of us who knew Jomo Kenyatta, and we go to there and then see a city, you marvel.
Yep.
Go to Moi University in the wilderness somewhere. Go there and see. Universities are also institutions that bring transformation
Yep.
to these communities. And I don't think what we are saying, what we need to empower institutions, they'll create jobs, they'll introduce learning that will eventually produce people that create also jobs for other people. And that's what I can say for now.
Let's take a break.
Yes.
We'll continue this conversation shortly. It's 7:30. We are having a conversation with the Vice Chancellor of the Meru University of Science and Technology. You call it MUST.
Must. Thank you. You know it. You're a good disciple.
Professor Romanus Odhiambo is here with us in the studio. We are talking about Meru University of Science and Technology, research, innovation, commercialization in Kenyan universities. What is it that we need to see happening in our universities?
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
We're talking about research, innovation, and commercialization of Kenyan universities. Prof, you've said, no, we actually don't even have enough universities in the country. Just dispelling that whole argument by people who are saying, honey, how many universities can I have? How many universities do we even have just in Meru County alone? Surely. If you look at Mount Kenya, how many universities do we have in Mount Kenya region? Sheesh, not enough, you say. However, the thing that has also been a big issue of conversation recently is on funding universities and making universities be able to run the best way they could with the kind of money that they get. There's money that comes in capitation from the government. There's money that comes from people paying direct school fees, and there's money from other sources. Do you find that the current mix of funding universities is sufficient, is the best?
Thank you very much. This is very timely. Kenyans, the money that currently public universities get is actually not enough. It's less than 50%. The funding model in the universities is called DUC, Differentiated Unit Cost. That means that this differentiated unit cost says that the government has to give some money. Actually, 80% should come from the government. Then the 20% should come from the household. The household is you, the parent, you, the sponsor, you, any good, somebody who want to support somebody. And for a long time, this started back, the 20% from 1992, actually, with the household pay for the university, it translates to 16,000 per year. And so if you look at it in terms of semester, that's 8,000 per year. That is the fees from 1992 up to now that my students and all the students in public university pay, 8,000.
Semester.
Yeah, per semester. Now, the 80% that the differentiated unit cost is supposed to pay, that is from around 2016 during the Matiang'i time, the government is expected to pay all that 80%. Now, from 2016 up to now, that rate has been going down. To date, I think they only give us around 49%, about 49-50%. And so there's a gap. This gap of around 30-something percent used to be met by the self-sponsored program, the so-called parallel programs. And so today, all of us vice chancellors and principals of constituent colleges are running university using money which is less than 50% for you to produce the so-called what you want, the 100% to graduate. So there's a serious problem, and vice chancellors and universities have been accused that they are not doing very well. This is the problem. The fees, the students are only paying that one I've told you. The money that the government that want to pay should pay, instead of paying the 80, they pay only less than 50%. So we have a serious problem. My proposal is, number one, I think Kenyans, most of our youth are not employed. There's a serious unemployment problem. There's a serious issue here. The best thing that we can do is basically to fund the university. That 80%, the DUC should be given 100%. When we do that, we'll be producing full-baked graduates who are able to bring solutions to our problem, create jobs, even if they are not able to be employed, but create jobs and all the rest. That's number one. Number two, and because we are talking about research and innovation, and this is Innovation Week in Kenya, one of the other things is that if you fund the university well, they'll be able to do proper research. And research for my university, we are talking of research, innovation, commercialization, and extension. RISE, if you don't want to forget, RISE. Research, innovation, commercialization, and extension. Good research that impacts, transform, and change communities. A research that come up with innovative products that can be incubated, that we can eventually be commercialized, and that can go to the community and transform the community. That is only going to happen, fellow Kenyans, if we accept that universities are university. I hear people talk about even great ideas, but their mandate are very different. For universities, these are the people who need really to get the proper ask. Ask is, abilities, or you can call it attitude, skills, and knowledge. And once they have that, then they can now produce a product, innovations. Then that can be incubated and commercialized. And then we start creating jobs. And in Meru University, my council, I thank the council, we have insisted the last 2 years that even if we get this little money, some part of the money is put aside for research, for the graduate students and the staff. And those research, when you come to the university, you must have a research proposal that is addressing community problem. So that when you come to the university, you are taught and eventually you do a research that will lead to those innovative solutions that are going to impact the problem, but eventually should be able to create jobs. I'm very happy, my dear colleague here has shown me a Samsung, is it phone?
Yep.
Yeah, and that comes from research. And we can only do this if our government, and I think they are going to do it, the president is very passionate about this, that we are funded properly so that our staff do greater research. We have the brains, we have the capability, it's only that funding that is needed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it need to be flipped? Because I look at university communities around the world and how the model that they use, the research and the innovation that you're talking about, is that to create an avenue through which then this funding is almost invited. That when they see that there are certain innovations and technological advances that are being made by this education institution, the funding almost kind of comes to you. So is there a way that we can get away from this, in my opinion, what I think is over-dependence on the government, which is already flailing in terms of funding, to look and invite external funding because of the work that is actually being done at the university? That the struggle does not need to be so hard. That are there other forms of own source revenue that can be used for universities, which are gems in terms of what they can put out? There are entire countries that depend on education as foreign exchange. How can that work?
I think this is a very important point. The countries where that has succeeded, there are issues that have to be addressed, the policy issues. For example, we need to strengthen university-industry partnership. Now, that can only happen if our government, and I think the Ruto presidency will do this, if they create policies that allow the people who come and work here, our industries, people who run them. When they run here, they don't come with every consultant from outside there. Outside there, it is a must that the consultants should be part and parcel of the country. So one of the ways of really strengthening this is really to change our policy for any manufacturing things. And we are just a consuming country. And most of the things we consume come from outside there. And if they are doing them here, then they come with a consultant. I think we need to create a policy that allows that anybody coming to manufacture something here must have consultant from here and work closely with the universities. At Meru University of Science and Technology, I agree with you. Our council, which is the employer appointed by the government, has actually insisted that Meru University must now try to find other solutions, like working with the industries and seeing the problems they have and see how they can now that become a basis of research that can now be used to solve the problems of those industries. And in that way, the industry will now start coming to the university. And I think going forward, for all our universities, be they private universities or public university, that is the way to go. That the industry, some of them are there to make money.
Yep.
So if you can do a research that value add to what they are already doing, like the beautiful phone you have just shown me here. You told me, is it 400,000? It's big money.
150.
Oh, that one. Yeah, that one. That's money. And if I can do something on me that will make it go to 180, don't you think the industry will come for me?
Indeed.
And that's what we are saying, that strengthening policies that will allow also industries to start looking for people who have brains in the university to do this, but also the universities also to do something that will show the industries that what they are doing is going to be, the industries are there to make money. So why should they come if you are not going to give them something to make money? I remember some of the things, the M-Pesa story. Yeah, it was something. Was it Oxford or Cambridge where it was discovered? Although Kenyans said it was discovered in Kenya, but we know where it was discovered. But it was from the university. And then if we can do that, then the industry will start coming. So going forward, let's have a stronger collaborations between industries and the universities. And the one way I'm pleading in the Kenyan TV right now is that the policies, we have also our own research fund, National Research Fund. It's Kenyan universities where postgraduate students are never sponsored. When I came to the university, I was the only one who was picked to go and do a master's class taught by 10 professors. At least I was given a scholarship. Today, postgraduate students are not given research scholarship. And I think the NRF, National Research Fund, should actually do this. The policy is that 2% of our GDP should be given to NRF. When that is done, NRF should also distribute this on a pro rata basis to all the universities so that research can take place. And when the universities get this, they need to work in such a way that the research that they get may end up in such beautiful phones, such beautiful gadgets that can create jobs. Thank you.
Professor.
Yes.
How accessible is this fund, this 2%? Because it's there in paper and it's been there for some time. If it isn't accessible, it might as well not be there. Why do I say this? Universities around the world, and you've traveled and in many places, a university like yours is an incubation hub for innovation. And so industry has no choice but to come to you, because the things they require, you have the muscle, you are the one who has the future at your fingertips.
And the time.
And the time. Yes.
24/7.
Yes, but that is only possible if this 2% is accessible. As I said, it's on paper. I understand it. And it wouldn't just be for the technical sciences. It would be for the natural sciences, it would be the social sciences, for the arts. Yeah. Everything that we speak of. You look at let's look at MIT, okay? Known around the world. The reason why that university has remained where it is because of just that. It's an innovation hub, among other things.
You are right.
The thinking that goes on and the creativity that goes on is always not just world class, it's always ahead of its time.
The others follow.
They do. Okay. And industry goes to them for solutions. So I am saying,
how accessible?
How accessible is this money?
Thank you. By the way, Meru University of Science and Technology is one of the very few with an innovations and entrepreneurship center and incubation center. And we are very grateful to Dr. James Mwangi, our Chancellor. I know you all Kenyans, you all know James Mwangi, using his own family money, built for us a state-of-the-art innovation, incubation, and entrepreneurship center. And it's very useful for that. We are really very appreciative for that. Our constitution says that 2% of the GDP in Kenya should be actually be given to NRF. That is the dream. But so far we have not acquired that. We as university vice chancellors and research-minded Kenyans are pleading to the government that this should be realized. And once it is realized, what NRF does is that they normally advertise every year for people to apply. for those scholarships, for those research grants. And then after that it is given. But because they only get around 300 million. It has never been to that 3 billion. So that 300 or 200 billion, that's what they distribute to all the people competitively.
Is that 2% of our GDP?
It is not. It is not. That's what I've said.
Trillion.
That's what I said, that for now, that is the dream, the ideal, but what we get every year, things about just 300 million every year. And I think we are pleading to the government that we need to get there. Once we get there, then some of these dreams we are talking about, we can actualize them. And he asked a very important question. Do people apply? How do people get this? One of the suggestions we are saying is that they need to target, especially universities, research students and research professors. Once they have that money, they can put a portion, some of it, to go to the universities, and will be able to do research that will bring change in terms of innovations, in terms of commercialization, in terms of extension. That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
You know what you're saying? If you look at, say, even private universities or even public universities in developed countries,
right,
beyond what the government may give them, their endowments from the alumni. But it is these hubs that bring in the big money, and it encourages others to do similar things. Somebody comes up and puts up a library.
That's true.
Somebody comes up and puts up a sports complex.
That's true.
That's what happens. But the reason is because those universities are centers of excellence. Number one. Number two, there are very many towns in the world that would not exist if it wasn't for the university.
It can't.
Now, the moment you have what you call a university town, you've introduced something into that entire ecosystem that will actually revolutionize that whole place. Because you internationalize the place. Everyone from not just around the country, from around the region will troop there. So you are right. Nairobi stops being the center of everything.
Yeah.
I say this because what we are discussing is not something that needs to be done. It has been done. It's still being done.
That's true.
There are cities that are growing because they have a university. Now, how do you unlock this? Because if I look at our universities, what we do with research is we talk about it. But most universities do not focus on research. The one time someone encounters research is when they're doing their master's or their PhD.
Yes.
After that, they do not dedicate their time to furthering knowledge in the field that they have their qualifications in. It stops there. What someone does, someone gets a job and you work. We don't have a research culture in our universities.
I think you are very right. And you are talking with a professor. I know the problem of research in these universities here.
Yes.
What happens in Kenya, first of all, the funding is a problem. We as a government need to put some money for funding, because the people, the priests of research, the priests of universities are normally professors like me. And most of the time, because there's no money and you pump me with so many students, so most of us become just teaching professors. And when you teach from morning up to evening, and then there's a term in Kenya which is called moonlighting, there's no energy. If you want to be a serious professor, serious research person, you need time to reflect, just like a priest. There are times they don't want people to see them. They are praying, they are fasting, they are reading, they are meditating, reflecting on the word of God. That is also true with professors. And you Kenyans, if you really want Kenya, and we are there, we are real professors. I mean, let's have finances, let's have many graduate studies developed. And you know what happens outside there? When I was completing my PhD back in 95, my professor, Stadmuller in Germany, had about 25 of us as PhDs, and had about 10 postdoctorals, and had about 60 master students. Do you hear me? Now the professor is up there. Yeni priest. He dreams at night. We need to do some research, something on climate change, the mathematical modeling of climate change. Now you bring in all these people under you, they write proposal and you supervise, and then make sure, now this one you go look for money. You get it? In Kenya, it is not possible because we are not funding the universities properly. You Kenyans, please, We can do it. We can do it better. Here people talk about Rwanda, talk about what, but we are the ones who started for them the universities there, the Kenyans. They talk about roads, water. It is our engineers who have designed those roads. So what we need, give universities money, give them research fund, and let them also rise up to that level. But this blame game is about our policies, and we must address it. And I really appeal in front of this national TV that we start talking about doing it, and then a change will be there. We are professors, very good professors, and there's no difference. Academic is academic. I'm a mathematician. A mathematician in America is a mathematician. We are the same. Yeah. You know, calculus is calculus.
It is the same everywhere.
There's no calculus of America. There's no calculus of Migori. There's no calculus of university. It is calculus. But what the difference is the policies in terms of, do we really value our professors? Do we really want them to help us solve the problem we have? Give them the funding, and let the funding to pay their salaries, to have these graduate students, to have research people under them, and then we can actually have the issues sorted out.
Prof,
Thank you.
If you look at the way you've said, look at the professors that you have, look at those who are in leadership in education, and then look at those who sit in the councils of the universities. These are all very influential people. What you're talking about is a policy shift. And it's not a big shift. If all these people are speaking and reading from the same page, it is something that just would take a short time, a short conversation, and it would happen. Why is it not happening? Why is it that we have so many people who are prominent people sitting as chairs of councils in universities, as chancellors and vice chancellors in universities? They have influence in government and they can summon policymakers. Why is it not happening?
My friend, that's a good comment. Unajua, the money in Kenya inatoka tu kwa treasury. Unajua, the money coming to support any institutions is actually sorted out in the parliament, National Assembly. Our MPs that we elect are the people who decide. Sometimes people even blame the president. It is not the president. I think you know all these things. We have a cake from the treasury. It is taken to the National Assembly. They debate it. I think it is all about policy. For example, let me tell you, the council members can only oversight what they have been given, but they have got no information, the ability really to decide how much they are given. So what we need to do is policy. Have you ever asked yourself why we have money called bursary given by the county government? And please, governors, don't kill me on this. We have bursary given by CDF. We have bursaries given by GAF. We have, I don't want to talk about that. You know, all this. Why can't we concentrate some of these ideas? And of course, I know where you come from, being Kenyans. You are also called for Arambe every weekend. Again, it is all that bursary in quote by household. So why can't we consolidate this and do something well? And then we'll sort out some of these things. The council, don't misunderstand this. The council can only oversight what they are given through the National Assembly. They do not have the power to determine how much they are given.
Prof, it's been a very interesting 1 hour.
I'm sorry, thank you. I hope you are not chasing me.
No. It's been a very short 1 hour, very interesting 1 hour. Yeah. Professor Romanus Odhiambo is the Vice Chancellor at the Meru University of Science and Technology, MUST. Asante for joining us. Come again soon.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being with you guys. And please, I welcome all Kenyans to join Meru University of Science and Technology. We have assembled a university, 10 years old, which is really planning how to transform, change, and impact this community in terms of the 8 areas. You can check that in our website. Thank you very much.